Okay, welcome back. This is the second video and crash course to Excel. You can see we've got some stuff here from the first video. One thing we didn't talk about there, or at least I didn't type up here, we did talk about it, is that anytime you put in an equation, you need to finish an equation with the Enter key or the Tab key. And most people just use Enter. You can use Tab also. Now, that's not what we're doing here. In this particular video, we want to talk about using the fill function and the fill capability within Excel. Now, this, of course, is Word. This isn't Excel. Let's go back to Excel here. You can see I've got some stuff from the previous video we just made. Don't need that right now. So you can just left-click and highlight an area, push the Delete key on your keyboard, and that will clear that area out. Still there. Because here we're going to talk about using fill, F-I-L-L. My accent sometimes gets in the way there. That's fill is F-I-L-L. So let's see here. I'm just going to start typing in some numbers here. 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter. Notice I'm not putting the equal sign here. If you're not doing calculations, if you're just typing in either text or numbers, you don't have to start with the equal sign. So in this case, I'm just typing numbers, no equal sign needed. Now I'm continuing to type. You could type until you're happy, heart is content, or you're done with your list, whatever the case may be. But my hope is, I'm recording these videos for my intro to engineering students, but if you're watching these, I hope you find them helpful as well. What I would suggest is, as an engineering student, if you find yourself doing something redundant over and over again, you might want to think in the back of your head, hey, is there maybe an easier way to do this, especially on a computer? Yeah, in this case, there is. If I want a long list of numbers that follows some kind of a pattern, I highlight these and delete them. What you'll find in Excel is if you'll give it 2 or 3 in a pattern, especially a real simple pattern, probably just maybe give it 1 and it might guess it. Excel will guess what the pattern is, and it will actually fill in as many of those numbers as you want. So notice what I've done. I've highlighted my pattern here. I've given it 2 or 3 in a pattern, highlighted them. Notice my cursor is normally this white plus sign. If you go to the edge of a selection, notice you get these move arrows. You get the move arrows, you can left click and drag and move that selection around. That gets really testy and can really do some things you don't want it to, but sometimes it's what you need. That's not what we're doing in this case. In this case, if you'll go to the bottom right-hand corner of that selection, see what happens to that mouse arrow at this point. You go to the bottom right-hand corner where there's a little black square, you get a black plus sign, a little tiny black plus sign. That's what your mouse becomes. That means if you click and drag right now, you'll engage the fill function. So if I click and drag that down, and notice what it's doing, the modern versions of Excel, it will show you how far it's going to fill that down. So you could fill that down as far as you want to go. All right, and I was trying to catch 30 there without it moving on me. And so it automatically will fill in as much or as little of that pattern as you want. And if we do that again, so it's pretty good with a lot of patterns. I mean, we'll do simple ones here. If I do 2, 4, and 6, we'll just do the even numbers. You can highlight those. Again, just click and drag to highlight. And when you're ready to fill, go to the bottom right-hand corner, click and drag as far down as you want to go. Scroll back up here, and something a little different. Maybe we do 14, 28, and 42. Multiples of 14, right? It should pick those up just fine too. Click and drag those down, and you can see we get multiples of 14. Now that's kind of neat. We could also do formulas though, right? So we could also do equations. So maybe in this column, let's say this is equal to this value to the left plus the value over here on the far left. Just like we did in the basic math video, anytime you're done with an equation, we got to do what? That's right, we got to hit the enter key. Now, here's the thing about formulas. You don't have to type your formula 2 or 3 times to fill it. Just once, that's your pattern. You don't have to give it any more than that. So if you go to the bottom right-hand corner of that cell, you can fill that down. And you can see every one of these then. And if you're not sure, you can just click in one of these cells. If you'll double click on a formula, it'll open it up and it'll highlight what's being used to calculate that formula. So you can see every one of these. And when you're done with that formula, again, make sure you hit enter. Anytime you're done in a cell with a formula, hit enter. We can open another one of these up. Just double click on it. Shows you the formula, shows what's being calculated. When you're done, hit enter. Now, let's do one more thing here. Let's say I come up over here to, I'm up here to I1. I come up here to column I, row 1, just somewhere off and over to the right. And if I just put a value in this cell, let's say 5, so I'll put 5, enter. And in this column, so column F for me, let's say in column F, I would like to say that this is equal to the value to the left multiplied by this value over here in I1. Hit enter. Right, so what I'd like to do is in this column, in column F, I want to take every one of these values in column E, multiply by this I1 up here in column I, row 1. So if I fill that down, given it my pattern, I fill this down. Well, it filled, but unfortunately, I always like to tell my students, computers are dumb. They will do exactly what you tell them to do and nothing more. So in the next video, we're going to talk about what did we tell this to do. Right? If you click on one of these cells, open it up, you can kind of see what's going on here. This is what we call referencing. I'm going to talk about referencing in the next video.